Hello Blockchain Nation, what up YouTube? Thank you for taking the time to subscribe or to watch this video, and yes, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't. For those who watch on a consistent basis, I want to say a big thank you. You are indeed far too kind. So today we're going to talk about the Bitcoin halving. Now I just want to let you know that I'm shooting this video a couple of weeks before the halving actually happens, but when you're watching this, hopefully it should have already happened. Technically it should have happened, or should be happening, because I'm releasing this video on the 12th or 13th of May, and that is the day of the next halving. Fun times, very fun times. So yes, that will be the 13th, May 13th. So before I talk about Bitcoin, the halving, whatever that means, for some people might ask, let's just talk about Bitcoin itself and how does Bitcoin work. So I'm going to play this video. It's a good one. I'm going to put a link below, and it explains exactly how the Bitcoin network works. So
since Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, I'm going to use it as our example, and I'll expand on our earlier description of a distributed ledger. But first, where does Bitcoin get its value? Bitcoin is brand new to mankind in that it's both a currency and a payment network simultaneously. And this is where Bitcoin gets its value. The immense network of computers all around the world running the Bitcoin distributed ledger. Every second of every day, these computers are keeping the ledger updated and in full consensus via a system that incentivizes them to process and confirm transactions. The system that Bitcoin runs on is called blockchain. Think of it as a modern version of an old-fashioned bookkeeping ledger, but instead of a handwritten list of entries and calculations, a blockchain is a digital list of entries and calculations. A block is simply a bundle of transactions. Think of a block as a whole page of transactions in the old-fashioned ledger. A blockchain is just a chain of blocks. It's the same as a whole series of pages in the old-fashioned ledger. Easy, huh? Here's how it works. The Bitcoin blockchain actually exists in every one of the millions of computers on the network as exact copies of each other. However, for this example, so that we can zoom in and you can really see just how a blockchain works, I'm going to show it as one giant blockchain in the middle of a small network of computers. Let's follow a pizza transaction with Bitcoin. When the transaction occurs, it first appears on the network in a pool of unconfirmed transactions, along with thousands of others from all around the world. Millions of different computers from the network then gather some of these transactions and place them in their own blocks. The computers are all creating blocks constantly in the hope that theirs will be the next one added to the official chain. A new block is added to the chain every 10 minutes or so when one of the computers wins the right to have its block recognized as the next in the chain and is rewarded with a prize of newly created bitcoins. The way a computer wins the prize is by trying to guess the answer to an extremely difficult math problem. In fact, the problem is so difficult that even with millions of computers making guesses billions or even trillions of times per second, it still takes roughly 10 minutes to find the answer. Once one of the computers guesses the correct answer and wins, all of the millions of computers on the network that did not win are instructed to throw away all the work they have done, update their ledgers with the block from the winning computer, and start again with a new math problem. In doing so, the computers use an immense amount of power and cost a literal fortune to run. So why do they do it? Because it can be very profitable. This is where the term mining for bitcoins comes from. Instead of striking gold by mining for precious metals in the wilderness, these computers are hoping to strike Bitcoin by mining precious numbers on the blockchain.
you can watch the rest of this, but this is so cool. I mean, it's worth watching a million times. But this is just the concept of mining in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is both a payment network and is also a store of value and a currency as well. I've done a couple of videos on this before. So the powerful thing about mining is just what incentivizes, is that a word, people to keep on running the network. And so how it works is all the transactions, just like the video said, that are done on the Bitcoin network go into an unconfirmed pool. So these are just nodes of computers all around the world. A mining rig is just somebody setting up a server somewhere with loads of computers that run what they call ASICs. Is a kind of CPU that is used specifically for mining Bitcoin. Anyway, so the wonderful thing, powerful thing is that, what the miner does is you try and solve a very complex math problem, and then the first computer that solves that problem gets to add his or her block to the blockchain. And once you do that, you get rewarded with Bitcoin. So that's what mining is. So what is the halving? Back to the halving. I'll just show you this real quick. So this happens every 4 years, or specifically every 210 blocks are mined. So it reduces. So the first, initially, when you were mining Bitcoin in the beginning, you get rewarded with 50 Bitcoins in a block. That was back in 2009. So every 4 years, it's cut by half. So as of now, the block is 12.5. The reward is 12.5 coins per block. And so now it's going to be 6.25 coins per block. So it's very, very interesting. You should read this whole document at bitcoinhub.com. It's so good. So its concept was Satoshi Nakamoto, the person or the people that designed Bitcoin, made it that way. That way, for whatever reason, it's just supposed to make it more scarce, make Bitcoin scarce the same way gold is scarce. What's wrong with our current monetary system is the fact that you can print an unlimited supply of treasury bills, aka United States dollar. I noticed back in the days, I diverse when I say this, a dollar is actually a certificate for gold. On the dollar bill, there was a insignia that said you can trade this dollar for gold. But now it doesn't say that anymore. It just says, where is it? In God we trust. Yeah, something else. It just says this note is legal tender for all debts, public and private. It's basically just a piece of paper. So the concept of Bitcoin is Satoshi was trying to make it as valuable as gold. So to make it scarce and at the same time kind of deflationary. So there are 21. That's why there are 21 million Bitcoins that ever to be produced. So at every 10 minutes is when a new block is added to the chain, just like in the picture that we saw. Every 10 minutes, this difficult math problem happens, and a new block is added to the chain. And then halving event occurs here every 4 years. Block reward, which starts at 50, continues to decrease to 0. So people argue and say, well, if the block reward eventually becomes 0, what is the incentive for miners to continue mining Bitcoin? Well, that's a very good question. Well, when the block reward is 0, it's going to be in the year, 2420, I think, if I do the math properly. But by then, I don't know, that's 100 years or so from now. How many years from now? We'll probably, 2140, excuse me, 2140. So by then, the concept is that there'll be mass adoption with Bitcoin. Most people will be using this as a medium of exchange. And then, because so many people there are so many transactions, miners will be rewarded with the transaction fee, as opposed to be worried about being rewarded with the block reward, which in this case is currently going to be, as of today, when you're watching this, it will be 6.25. Well, whenever you're watching this, if you're watching this 4 years from now, it will be less than 6.25. So the first halving event occurred on 29th of November at this number of blocks, and the second halving event occurred at 10th of July at this amount of blocks. So it's great. So people always wonder what's going to happen to the price of Bitcoin when the halving happens. Well, the truth is the Bitcoin price eventually will go up and down and up again and down. Who knows? It is wonderful thing about this network is that this concept is that it is driven by me and you, by demand and supply, as opposed to the Federal Reserve, or not the Federal Reserve, excuse me, the way the global currencies work, which is dependent on the central bank of the currency determining how much money they're going to print and the likes, which is what has worked so far, but I'm not sure how long that will work for anymore. Anyways, watch my previous video, I'm normally, where I talked about the Bitcoin price and whether the price will go up or down. I'll put a link for that below anyway. So past performance, it's always a debate on what Bitcoin will do in terms of the price halving. Some people say it will go up. Some people believe that the halving is already priced in by the market, and thus there's no expectation for the price to do anything. Okay, last thing I wanted to say was that, so people wonder, or the argument is that, is there still an incentive to keep on mining Bitcoin? Yes, there is. Because we know exactly when the halving will occur. So the miners have already taken that into perspective when they're looking at whether they're going to profit or whether there's going to be a loss, and it's actually a calculation they make every single day to see whether they're going to remain in profit mode. So as of this morning, the price of Bitcoin, let me check it. It might be different when you are watching this, but let's see what the Bitcoin price is. Bitcoin price is $8,000 for a Bitcoin, which is just absolutely wonderful. So who knows what the price will be But eventually, the more people adopt Bitcoin, the more transactions occur on Bitcoin, there's still an incentive to mine Bitcoin, because for the miners, they can get rewarded with the transaction fee. So what's going to happen to Bitcoin halving today? I would love to know what the price will be as of when we are watching this, but this is so cool. You should check out this website. Kudos to the people that put this together. It's really cool. Total Bitcoin circulation at 18,000. Total Bitcoin ever to be produced at 21,000. So percentage of total Bitcoins mined is 87%. It might be different when you're watching this. This is what's left to mine. The Bitcoin price, okay, it's even right here. It's 86. This is just a good way of checking to see what's going on. Total blocks that have been mined so far. I believe that's what this is. Block reward is 107,500, depending on the number of blocks we have. So what's the block reward? Should I do this quick math? Its price is 86. Is it 12 and a quarter currently? So the price is 86. What are we in terms of? Yeah, so after the halving, it's going to be 6 and a quarter. So let's look at this. So if I do this quick math, bear with me. I say 8,600 times 12 and a quarter. Yeah, so this 107 by the Bitcoin block reward. What this pretty much is the price of Bitcoin is 8,600, right? So if you multiply 8,600 for a Bitcoin, multiply by number of Bitcoins that you get rewarded for in a block when you mine a block. So it'll be 8,006 times 12.5, and that will give you 107,500. So this is very profitable. So imagine this, you're a Bitcoin miner, and each time, with the current price of Bitcoin, each time you do this process, you mine Bitcoins, and you are the one who manages to put your confirmed transactions and create a new block. Well, as a miner, each time you do that, you get rewarded with $100,000. I mean, that's just 107,500, which is insane. So if the price comes down, well, we still have transaction fees to lean on, which is just crazy. Just to interpret this, so the difficulty rate, so when it gets easier and easier to mine Bitcoins, the difficulty rate goes up. And this is adjusted about every 2 weeks, every 2,000 and something blocks. I have to check with that, how many blocks that is. So we have the current activated soft forks. I'm not sure what this is. Okay, this current activated soft forks. So I won't go into all this now. That would just outside the scope of what I need to talk about. Maybe I'll do another video about that. But yeah. So we can also develop tool chain conflict, get private. Anyways, you can also see the Litecoin happening if you want to, that's your thing. So this is for the Litecoin. It's really much the same thing in terms of what it tracks. Looks at Litecoin price, how many block generation time. So this is just the Litecoin. So anyway, back to Bitcoin halving. So that's just the halving. The halving, which will happen on the 12th of May. Exciting times. We're looking forward to this, to see how this does and see what the effect is on Bitcoin. So please watch the rest of this video. It's really, really enlightening. And also, I always talk about Mike Maloney. Please subscribe to Mike Maloney's page. He has like so many videos that'll just knock your socks off. This is what got me involved in gold and silver, and also ultimately led me down the rabbit hole to learn about Bitcoin. What's this? Anyways, yeah, so that's it. Anyways, so that's it for me. Bitcoin halving. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So comments below. Let's see how the halving did. Let's see what the price effect was on Bitcoin. Check out that URL. I'll put a link below. Let's just monitor this stuff and let's learn more about blockchain technology. Anyway, until next time, my wish for you is that you learn about blockchain, because blockchain is changing and will change the world. And those who get involved in my personal opinion will greatly impact the future. And if that's you, let's go change the world, baby.